What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Majespecter deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Zak. And this deck just got some insane support recently, taking this deck to a whole new level. It can make some absolutely insane boards, so without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Linking your name, description, every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron. And definitely give Zak some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Majespecter Porcupine. This card is definitely a 3-0 in the build because the deck finally has an amazing extender. This card has the ability during the main phase, if you control a Majespecter monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card in your hand. And if it's normal or special summon, you can target a Majespecter spell in the graveyard and set it to your side of the field, which is a really cool ability. And this card also has a common effect, just like all of your other Majespecter monsters, that while this card is in the monster zone, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either, which is super cool about all of your Majespecter main deck monsters. We then play 3 copies of Majespecter Raccoon. Majespecter Raccoon is definitely a 3 of in the build, and this card is the best normal summon in the entire deck still. Then when this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Majespecter monster from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Majespecter Crow. Majespecter Crow is a really powerful card now that we can search Majespecter Wind that just recently came out with all the new Majespecter cards, because when this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Majespecter spell from your deck to your hand, which is an insane effect. We then play a single copy of Majespecter Fox. This card is really good as a 1-of still because this card on normal or special summon lets you add a Majespecter Trap from your deck to your hand. We then play a single copy of Majespecter Toad. Toad is also really good as a 1-of in the build. That when this card is normal or special summoned, you can set a Majespecter spell or trap directly from your deck, but it cannot be activated this turn, which is why we just play a single copy in this build, because you can't activate it the same turn it was set, which is a little bit of a downside. We then play just a single copy of Cat. Cat's a little bit slow because this card does basically not let you use the card until the end phase, because when this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Majespecter card from your deck to your hand and during the end phase of this turn, which is a really good effect to be able to add it during the end phase, but it's a little bit slow because it does add it during the end phase, which is why we just play a single copy of this card. We then play 3 copies of Majesty Pegasus. Majesty Pegasus is counted as a Majespecter card, so this card is definitely a 3-of in the build. And this card can actually search field spells, which is amazing. Any field spell in the game, because if this card is special summoned by the effect of a Draco's Slayer card, or its Pendulum summon, you can add a field spell from your deck to your hand, then discard a card, and we have a lot of cards that we can actually search off this card's ability, but I play some really awesome tech cards that you can use with this card's effect. We then play a single copy of Dynamite Powerload. Dynamite Powerload is really good as a 1-of because of its Pendulum effect. It lets you target a Draco Slayer card in your other Pendulum zone and special summon it to your side of the field. Plus this card is a scale 6, which is amazing for this deck. We then play a single copy of Luster Pendulum. Luster Pendulum is just a really good combo piece in the build, which is why we play this card as a 1-of in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is really good in this deck as a 3-of just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird is really cool as a 3-of because this card just helps you out a lot because it is a wind spellcaster, and it stops your opponent from searching the deck for the rest of the turn. This card is amazing in this build and is so important to be able to play this format to basically just lock your opponent down. We then also play 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is really good as well in this build because this card just stops your opponent's monster effects. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Secret Village is really good in this deck because we're basically playing all spellcasters. This card is going to be amazing in this deck because basically it makes it so your opponent cannot activate spell cards while we have a spellcaster on the field. That if we don't control a spellcaster, we cannot activate spell cards, but that's totally fine because we have a bunch of normal summons to turn this card back on and to lock down our opponent. This card is amazing in the deck and is a really really good card to search off our copy of Pegasus and is just fantastic in this build. We then play a single copy of Majesty's Pegasus. Majesty's Pegasus is another field spell that we can search in the deck because it has the ability that all Majespecter monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense, and you can also treat a wind spellcaster type monster to be able to special summon a level 4 lore Majespecter monster from the deck, which is an amazing ability to be able to use with this card. We then play a single copy of Majespecter Storm. I really like this card as a 1-of in the build because it tributes a wind spellcaster type monster, and then lets you target a monster that your opponent controls and shuffle it back into the deck, which is a really cool effect to not only bounce that card, but also put it back into the deck, which is just really, really powerful. We then play a single copy of Cyclone. Cyclone's great as a 1-of in the build because this card is a quick play. It actually lets you tribute a wind spellcaster monster and then target a monster your opponent controls and destroy it, which is great to be able to pop cards on the field. We then play 3 copies of Majespecter Wind. Majespecter Wind is so a 3-of in this deck. This card is insane with the ability that when you activate this card, you can also tribute a wind spellcaster monster to special summon a Majespecter monster from your hand or grave. Or if you did choose to tribute a monster, at activation, you can special summon a Majespecter monster from the deck, instead basically being an E-Telly from the deck to be able to get the exact Majespecter you want on your side of the field. This card is so a 3-of in the deck and is so powerful to be able to combine with your copy of Porcupine, and is a really, really good 3-of in this build. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is just really good in this build to be able to dig into the deck for the exact cards that you need, because you really want to get to your copies of your Raccoon, your copies of your Porcupine, and cards like that, so you can keep getting searches. So this card is just really good overall in the deck to get your combo started, and is a really good card because we don't need everything in the extra deck, so this card just helps out a lot. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Majespecter Tornado. Majespecter Tornado is really good as a 1-of because it lets you tribute a wind spellcaster type monster, target a monster opponent controls, and banish it. We then play a single copy of Majespecter Tempest. Tempest is a really good counter trap for the deck that when a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, tribute a wind spellcaster monster and negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. We then also play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is amazing in the deck to go along with all of our other hand traps, and the cool thing about this deck is we have so much room for hand traps in this build to be able to just stop our opponent in their tracks so we can go in for all of our plays. This card is amazing because it stops our opponent's monster effects while also locking down entire columns of spells and traps, which is just so cool about this card. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with 3 copies of the new Majespecter Link monster, Majespecter New. This card is really amazing as a 3-of. This card has the ability, if this card is Link Summon, you can add up to 2 face-up Majespecter Pendulum monsters from your extra deck back to your hand. Then you can add up to 2 Majespecter Pendulum monsters with different names from your deck face up to your extra deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the term except Majespecter or Draco Slayer monsters, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use this card to basically get 2 monsters back to your hand, also getting the exact 2 Majespecters you want into your extra deck, which is just absolutely crazy. This card is definitely a 3-of in the build, and it's just a really powerful card overall in the deck, and probably one of the best support cards we got out of all the new cards for Majespecters. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is just really good at closing out games to be able to make a really massive boss monster that can pop multiple cards on the field and just gets absolutely massive. We then play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is really good to be able to make in the deck because it is a multiple monster negate and very easy to step into in this build, plus it has all those down arrows, which is really nice for pendulum summoning. We then play a single copy of Exceed the Pendulum. This card is also really good in this deck as a 1-of. We play a single copy of Selene. Selene is great to help you climb into your copy of Access Code and is overall a fantastic card in the deck, especially with all the cards like Droll and Effect Veiler in the deck to be able to bring those cards back from the grave so that you can step into your copy of Access Code. We then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. You can change this card out for a copy of Nightmare Unicorn if you're looking for a more budget option in this card, but if you have it, play it because it is a double interruption. This card is a really good card to be able to make in the deck, but again, if you don't have it, you can play Nightmare Unicorn to spin cards off the field, but this card is an amazing card in the deck. We then play a single copy of Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum is just really good in any Pendulum deck because this card gives you searches, it pops cards on the field, and it's just a fantastic card overall. We play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP is really good to make SP Little Knight during the opponent's turn. It's just a really good card overall. One copy of the Dynastor Power. This card is a really good combo piece in the deck so that you can play it, and it's a really good card overall. One copy of Ignister. Ignister is just really good in the deck overall as a 1-of, which is why we play the copy of Luster Pendulum, as it has the ability once per turn you can target a Pendulum monster on the field or one card in the Pendulum zone, destroy it, and if you do, shuffle any card on the field back in the deck, and it doesn't target, which is why this card is so powerful. And once per turn you can special summon a Draco Slayer monster from the deck in defense position, but it cannot be used as synchro material for a summon, which is totally fine because we can step in either XZs, Links, or Fusions, which is amazing. We then also played 2 copies of the new Majespecter Draco. I feel like 2 is enough for this card. I have considered bumping it to 3, but it's a really good 2-of right now. You could play the 3rd copy over SP Little Knight if you don't have the SP, but I feel like 2 is really all you need. This card is amazing because it has a pendulum effect that if you have a Majespecter or Draco Slayer card in your other Pendulum zone, you can add a Majespecter card from your deck to your hand. Then you can destroy one card in your Pendulum zone. And then it also has a crazy powerful monster effect that if this card, if you can Pendulum Summon for 4, you can Pendulum Summon this card from face up from your extract. And if a monster is tributed while this card's on the field, then you can actually detach a material in this card to special summon a level 6 or lower wind spellcaster monster from the deck, which is crazy insane because you can use that effect up to twice per turn. So whenever you use your Majespecter cards to tribute, you can actually just special summon a different Majespecter, essentially trading them out and getting a different search, which is why we play so many different names in the deck. And this card also has the ability that if this card in the monster zone is just from a battle or by card effect or it's tributed, you can place this card in your Pendulum zone, which is amazing because it is a scale 5, which is really, really good. This card is definitely a 2-of in the build, if not a 3-of. Again, if you don't have SP, you can play a 3rd copy of this card if you don't have it, but I really like this card as a 2-of in the build. We then finally play a single copy of Magister Paladin. Magister Paladin is just a really good 1-of combo piece in the deck. Then when it's XZ summon, you can add a Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand during the end phase of this turn, and once per turn you can detach a material on this card to special summon a face-up Draco Slayer Pendulum monster from your extract, but it cannot be used as XZ material for a summon, but it's still really good as a 1-of in the deck. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is insane now. I absolutely love all the new support. It got no bad new support cards. Like, everything was good that we got, especially the new Link monster and Porcupine and Wind. Like, there's really not a bad card that we got. Everything is playable, which is crazy, and I absolutely love the fields that this deck can make. It's super fun to be able to play. If you guys have not played Majespecter yet, you definitely should give this deck a try. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.